Hello everyone, John Doyle from OptixEQ, another video race of the day. I'm going to actually look at the first three races somewhat at Gulfstream Park on Wednesday, March the 9th. Okay, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I just again want to point out how to use both the plot and notes collectively. Again, we really focus on pace and form cycle because those are the two areas that are really kind of untouched. Everyone knows speed figures, kind of how fast the horse can run, and then classes, you can see where the horse fits and so forth. But how they're going to run today and what the pace dynamic is going to be, that's where we come in. Okay, so let's take a look at race one. When you first look at this race, you might say I'm single in the two and maybe backing up with the one and I'm done. And you'd be okay to say that because I mean, just the two looks like the speed of the speed on the plot above the par line, looks well above everybody. And the one, that big square, the stalker, who may get a run if the two comes back to the field. However, I'm gonna make a case this race is a little bit trickier than that. And if you're playing the pick five, you may want to need to go deep in this race actually. And I'm going to give you a couple alternatives and the reasons why. Let's go to the grid. I'm going to start with the two. I mean, no knocks. Well, some knocks. All right. First things first. I think this horse he's 3-1 in the morning line. It's going to be much lower. There's no doubt in my mind this horse is going to be much lower. So you're not going to get value there. I think this horse will be below at least 8-5, if not less. He's got Ortiz back on him. He won with a big figure, 84, kind of towers over this field as a figure. But could he get back to that figure? He'll be lone again, probably. The problem is he's coming back on 12 days. That's pretty quick. He's done that before where he's come back in 14 days, didn't run as well, had a no finish, really kind of, but at 5.5 furlongs, okay, get it. But it was at the same level when he won his race. He's moving up in class. So some knocks. Again, take a look at the price. I just think he's going to be much lower than his morning line is, and he'll lack value. I can't not use him if you kind of go looking at pick five, but I just wanted to point that out. The other horse I talked about looking good on the plot was the one, and I got some knocks on him too. The first thing is he's coming back off a 54-day layoff. Okay, you got a C plus, and again, he's 5-2, no bargain. He's actually, I guess, the morning line maker made him the favorite. Don't see that. And then in between, he got this vet. See that we keep the notes. Well, we keep the entry in there. So this horse was a vet scratch in between this. So he may come back and win. I'm not going to knock it, but again, it's another horse. He's trying synthetic for the first time, so it's another question mark. Do you want to take 5-2? I don't blame you for maybe including them, but you got to think about how you budget your tickets, how you construct your tickets, and all the rest. But another horse, I think, vulnerable, especially if he's anywhere near it. Which I think he's going to be second or third choice in here, not the favorite. The horses I thought you might want to just consider is one was the 6. He's the deep closer. He's just been against the flow, and he's got gradually improving numbers. So this is a horse that you might want to consider. He's a first-time synthetic too. So maybe the synthetic does help him. I don't like the 5 furlongs for him, because we have a stretch in his debut. But again, if those horses just come back for whatever reason, this horse is running on late. I would include this horse just to try to get a big price. He's 5-1 in the morning line. He may be more than that, so he may be worth a shot. And the other long shot I thought, the other two other horses I thought were worth an effort too was the number 3, Spring the Beast. This horse, by the way, the win jockey of the one goes to this horse for everyone looks at that kind of stuff. The horse didn't have a great race on synthetic, but that was routing. Ran a good race last time, pretty good race. It's wide. First is better than this. Gets a little bit of a drop, second off a layoff. This horse is worth a shot. Plot's pretty good. So he's an alternative. And then the other alternative is the 5, Rayo, Colorado. A little sneaky, a little dirtied up. If you go back, this horse has 2 races that could win this race, a 78 and an 80 in those 2 races. So this horse is capable of winning. What's happened in the last 2 races? Well, he had an issue. He didn't handle the track, and he didn't get pushed in that 2 back in the slop. Now he's handled slop before, but all slop's different, right? So sometimes they seal it, sometimes they don't. So for whatever reason, he didn't handle it. Let's take a look at the extended comment. Not getting his day, getting squeezed out of early position. Yeah, so he had trouble too. Shuffle, no handle. excuse. Next time against, they pitch him against higher, a better race. You can see the OptixEQ range kind of towers over the one today. So they're going to drop this horse, and that's what we projected in notes. So this horse is worth a shot too. So in a race where most people probably be maybe singling the 2, I'm just thinking we go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 and see where it goes. But get some viable long shots in this race. And if you're playing contest, I'd be probably off the 1 and 2, and I'd be looking at 3, 5, and 6, depending on the odds and depending how things shake out. Okay, so race 2, I thought was another somewhat interesting race, and the way I attacked this race was a little bit differently. I looked at the form. You see, it's a turf race, and there's not much turf form. The 3, 4, 7 have a run on the turf, and the 4 plots beautifully under standard. Looks like the horse to beat. He's 1.2 to 1. I guess that's what, 6 to 5. I can't. I can't bet a horse that's never run on the turf at 6 to 5. Okay, I'm not sure what he's going to be. I don't know. That seems a little low to me, but who knows? So what I did here, I just filtered this race on turf form only, and I've just kind of go through this form quick. The 1 finished 6th both times on the turf. The 2 had some good, okay races, in the 80s, but this horse I never like horses that were kind of lost below the level. And this horse has kind of lost below the level several times. You can see he was in maiden 40s, maiden 50s. The 3, first time turf. 4, first time turf. 5, interesting, right? I mean, this is the interesting horse to me. Those races at Keeneland are pretty good in the spring, and then Belmont in the spring. And the Belmont race, this horse had no cover, wide move, bad tactics, made a premature move on the second turn in a race that 11 furlongs. He's cutting back. We projected shorter. He's getting shorter. This horse is off a big layoff, but this horse looks like a legitimate turf horse in a race without much turf form. Okay, so how do you say single? Maybe. So that's a horse you might want to consider. Now, the only thing is they had him considered running him at Tampa, and he got scratched. Don't know what the reason was there. Didn't have any. I guess the trainer thought against it. That would have been a much softer spot. But this race comes up pretty soft in terms of turf form. So he's definitely one to look at. The 6 lost well below the level. Don't like that. And then the 7 first time. So when you look at this, you just kind of look at the form and you say, this is the horse, when you filter by turf, this is really the only turf horse, legitimate turf horse in the race. 307-day layoff is worrisome, but think about the upside on this horse. This horse was running early spring as a 3-year-old. I mean, I expect another 10 points of improvement as possible. So this horse is going to be running in the upper 80s. There's no one near that in this race. So number 5, Snows Island, looks that way to me. So I'm going to move on to the next race, the 3rd race. Hopefully help you out. The early pick 5. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this race, but I just want to point something out. It just, to me, this quadrant 1 looks a tad light. And you can see that the run styles too seem to balance to the right, which are pressure closers, and speed rating contention look about average. I just think that this race may favor the horses in quadrant 1. The 7 outshines, probably one of your favorites. And I just tell you, that's okay if you kind of like that horse. But I would just tell you, take a look at the 4. The 4 has possibilities. Here's a horse that I didn't like this drop, big drop at Tampa, but that race came up pretty good. But he was dropping from, he came off a layoff and dropped big time. Not something I like, but the horse encountered traffic, ran pretty good. And that race came back mildly okay. Englehart is a New York trainer. He's had a few horses run at Gulfstream. They've done pretty well this meet. This might be a live one. This horse definitely's got some back form to win this race. He's got some quality. He shows you those wins. He's pretty consistent. So maybe he's not done with, right? Sometimes you would think he's done with his big drop. Maybe he's not done with. They set a pretty decent trip up close, stalking. he's going to be worth a shot. I mean, he's 6-1 in the morning line. So just pay attention to him. That's all I really want to do in this race. I don't want to get much more into it. I just wanted to point that out. Okay. So we went through the first 3 races, showing you how to use kind of a complement of both the plot and notes. And this first 3 races sequence, basically saying that the first race looks like a favorite. It's going to be outstanding, but maybe a spread could upset the apple cart. Second race looks like a horse that might be a standalone. And then the third race is, a race you want to dig in a little bit more, but there's kind of a live long shot in the race, I thought. And it's a competitive race. Okay, that's it for me. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Usually when you get there, it's the right, it will help us out. And then check us out at OptixEQ.com. And thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the feedback. Thanks.